Today hari ini saya akan mempresentasikan tentang green building dan sustainable building, pengertian building dan sustainable building. Pertama-tama saya Rehan Zaki Haryanto dari Prodi S1 Pendidikan Teknik Bangunan Universitas Surabaya dengan NIM 220505 34004. Baik. Slide yang pertama. The importance of green and sustainable development. Nowadays, green and sustainable construction is an important issue in the construction world. The building sector is responsible for most of the world's energy use and carbon emission. By implementing the concept of green and sustainable construction, we can contribute to overcoming climate change and realizing a more sustainable future. The purpose of the above explanation is to convey that environmentally friendly and sustainable development is important for the construction sector because this sector contributes greatly to global energy use and carbon emission. By implementing the concept of green development, the construction sector can help reduce negative impact on the environment. Definition of green building and sustainable building bisa dibaca terlebih dahulu, yaitu green building adalah perusahaan konsep applies the principle of resource efficiency. So the purpose of essence of the explained above are poin pertama, green building is a development concept that focus on resource efficiency, energy saving, and environment friendliness. Poin kedua, sustainable building is a concept that emphasizes long-term sustainability by minimizing negative impact on the environment and supporting human well-being. Dari kedua poin tersebut, saya bisa menyimpulkan bahwa the concept aim to create buildings that are better for the environment and well-being. Jadi sangat berimpact positif bahwa kita harus menggalakkan green building dan sustainable building. Selanjutnya. Ini ada benefit of implementing green building and sustainable building. Ada 3 poin. First point, energy efficiency. Point 2, carbon emission reduction. Point 3, carbon emission reduction. Overall, the benefit of implementing this concept in development aim to create an efficient, low-emission environment that support welfare. Jadi environmental impact, carbon emission reduction, and energy efficiency. Carbon emission reduction, the implementation of energy efficient, green and sustainable building can reduce fossil fuel consumption and reduce carbon emissions that contribute to global warming. Poin kedua, energy efficiency efficient technology such as good insulation, LED lighting system, and energy efficient electronic equipment can drastically reduce electric consumption in building. So, the implementation of green building and sustainable building has a positive impact on the environment by reduce carbon emission and increasing energy efficiency, which is turn help address the problem of global warming. Jadi, sustainable building sangat berimpact positif kepada dunia untuk mengurangi pemanasan global. Seperti itu. Oke. Next, social impact. Oke. Improving quality of life and health. Jadi impact kepada kehidupan dan kesehatan. Ini ada 2 poin penting. Yang pertama yaitu the application of green building and sustainable building concept has a significant positive impact on the quality of life and health of its occupant. Building design that takes into account comfort, natural lighting, air circulation, and the selection of environmentally friendly material can increase productivity, reduce stress, and support a healthy lifestyle. Nah, ini jadi banyak konsep-konsepnya. Konsep menurut ekonomi, dampak ekonomi ada 3. Yang pertama yaitu cost saving, kedua low maintenance, ketiga incentive and policy benefit. Yang point 1, cost saving, green and sustainable building have high energy efficiency which can significantly reduce utility costs such as electricity, water, and heating. This provides long-term benefit for building owner. Low maintenance cost the use of quality material and advanced technology in green building requires lower maintenance cost than traditional building. This increase the efficiency of operational costs. Poin ketiga, incentives and policy benefit. Some governments offer fiscal incentives such as tax break and low interest loans to encourage green and sustainable development, providing additional benefit. So, overall dari ketiga impact, the implementation of this concept is not only beneficial from an environment perspective but also from financial perspective. Seperti itu. Ini policy and regulation related to green building and sustainable building. So, green building and sustainable building pasti memiliki regulasi-regulasi tertentu. Yang pertama yaitu the government has issued many fiscal incentives to encourage the adoption of green and sustainable buildings such as tax reduce and low interest loan. Point 2, green building certificate issue by independent institution has become the standard for the quality of environmentally friendly and sustainable building. Point 3, several regions have made it mandatory to implement green building for new development projects, both private and government. Point 4, laws and regional regulation on energy efficiency and emission reduce also encourage the use of green and sustainable building design. Nah, ada 2 gambar di sini, yaitu contoh gedung yang sudah memiliki standar green building and sustainable building in Surabaya area. Foto yang pertama ya ini gedung Gera Esa Sampurna in Street of Soekarno Klampis, Sukolilo, Surabaya. Yang kedua yaitu gedung Wisma Intiland Tower di Jalan Panglima Sudirman, Embong, Malang. Conclusion. Sebelum masuk ke kesimpulan, saya ada video pendek mengenai green building and sustainable building. Wait guys. Okay.
Hi everyone, it's Chris Magwood here from the Endeavour Center, the Sustainable Building School in Peterborough. lot of the work that I've been doing here at Endeavour is about how buildings impact climate change and what we can do about it. As the realities of climate change start to really set in, the building industry is realizing that it's responsible for a lot of human-caused emissions on the planet. Some of those emissions are from operating buildings, and those we've known about for a long time. But there's another side to buildings and climate change that hasn't been getting much notice until very recently, and that's called embodied carbon. So what does embodied carbon mean? Embodied carbon is the emissions footprint that comes from harvesting, transporting, and manufacturing building materials. Each stage in the process of getting a building material to a construction site causes greenhouse gas emissions. And this carbon footprint from materials can be very significant. It's up to 11% of all human-caused emissions on the planet. Since the embodied carbon of building materials is so significant, it's important that we learn how to work with these numbers and come up with accurate ones. We need to do the basic accounting of how much embodied carbon is associated with each material, and then how much embodied carbon footprint an entire building will have if we're going to be able to reduce it. To understand embodied carbon, we need data. This data comes from studies called life cycle assessments, or LCAs, which look at all phases of a material's lifespan and add up all the carbon emissions that happen. In this case, we're looking at cradle-to-gate emissions, a total of all the greenhouse gases released during harvesting, transportation, and manufacturing of the material. Once we know the cradle-to-gate emissions of each material in our building, we can add up the sum total of all those emissions and get a sense of the carbon footprint for making one particular building. For a long time, it's been difficult to access LCAs, and so that's made it hard for somebody to figure out what the carbon footprint of a particular building might be. But now, there's a report called an Environmental Product Declaration, or EPD, in which companies show the life cycle assessments of their products. These EPDs are conducted according to a set of international rules and usually carried out by a third party to verify the information. In an EPD, the embodied carbon
Global
is
warming
expressed
potential.
as the global warming potential, or GWP factor, for a given amount of a specific material. You can multiply the amount of material you are using by its GWP factor and figure out what the carbon emissions for each material in your building will be. This kind of embodied carbon analysis can give us a really good sense of which materials have a high embodied carbon and which ones we might be able to replace them with a lower embodied carbon. If we make the right choices, we can have a dramatic impact on the climate change effects of any given building. As an example, let's look at a model of a 10,000 square foot, 4-story, 8-unit residential building. If we choose common building materials that have a really high carbon footprint in their category, this building could be responsible for as much as 207 tons of greenhouse gas emissions before anybody's even moved in. This is a huge carbon footprint. We could also choose a less intensive set of materials and get that figure down to 110 tons of emissions. This is still high, but through those simple material substitutions, we've almost cut the carbon footprint in half. But we could make even better choices using commonly available code-compliant materials and get the carbon footprint down so that our building actually now stores 10 tons of carbon and has no net emissions. This is a real zero-carbon building. By using the best possible material selections, we can see this same building storing 125 tons of carbon. This is a real carbon drawdown building.
How is it possible for a building to store more carbon than it emits? It seems counterintuitive. Carbon-storing buildings use a relatively high proportion of plant-based building materials. During photosynthesis, plants capture gaseous carbon from the atmosphere, and that carbon becomes a high percentage of the plant's mass. When we harvest those plants, the carbon stored in them is taken out of the carbon cycle for as long as they're contained in the building. The amount of carbon stored in the material can be significantly higher than the emissions created to harvest and produce the material. This provides us with an effective means of drawing carbon out of the atmosphere and keeping it out for a relatively long period of time. By focusing on using agricultural residues and waste stream fibers, we open up a whole new paradigm. Building materials with carbon drawdown and storage potential. We can use enough of these carbon-storing materials to offset the emissions from other materials in the building and achieve net zero or even net positive carbon footprint for a building.
With informed decisions about the embodied carbon impact of the materials we're choosing, we can have a huge impact on climate change in our buildings. We can substitute carbon materials for high carbon materials. A builder or a homeowner can have a massive effect on the climate change impact of their building. In fact, it's one of the biggest impacts we can make to change our current climate trajectory. And that's true for new buildings, renovations, at any size and any scale. I encourage you to think about the embodied carbon of the materials you're choosing for your next building project. The impact that you can make on climate change is real and it's significant. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you'd like to learn more about embodied carbon or sustainable building in general, watch for more videos from Endeavour or check out our website.
Thank you for watching, guys. Oke. Video tersebut sangat bermanfaat dan sangat memberikan kita ilmu baru tentang pentingnya green building dan sustainable building untuk mengurangi dampak pemanasan global dan pengurangan emisi karbon. Okay, so the overall conclusion about green building and sustainable building is that both are sustainable, are development approaches that focus on resource efficiency, the reducing environmental impact and improving quality of life. Thus, green building and sustainable building play important role in creating a more sustainable, healthy, and economical environment for society. So, jadi seperti itu kurang lebihnya tentang pentingnya menggalakkan green building and sustainable building. So, mari kita galakkan green building and sustainable building untuk mengurangi emisi karbon khususnya di Surabaya dan di Indonesia sih. Jadi seperti itu. Thank you for watching, guys. I hope you healthy and always happy and jaga kesehatan selalu. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Saya Raihan Zaki pamit undur diri. Terima kasih.